So I guess Mitratel is focused on the tower business, but not only in tower. We actually aiming to become a digital infrastructure company by 2023. This means that we are going to focus to the tower ecosystem. That include fiber optic, power to tower, edge computing. So all of those is actually necessary to actually support 5G. So then we're going to have a business not only just to provide a tower as a passive equipment, but also we're going to enter into more active equipment and also to something more technology-driven equipment.
Okay.
Maybe,
your presentation, please.
Okay, thank you. Maybe I can start with my presentation. We can go to the next slide. Okay, so first of all, I would like to thank you for the opportunity, and this is, I guess, a good opportunity for us to introduce our company. In a glance, Mitratel is one of the largest tower operator in Indonesia. But we're not only the largest, but we also the widest, which means that 57% of our tower located outside Java Island. Java is actually currently the most populated island in Indonesia. I think 50% of the population are in Java Island. But the other island in Indonesia, such as Sumatra, Kalimantan, Sulawesi, Papua, which is bigger than Java Island, but yet there's a lot of potential that hasn't been tapped in that area. Okay? Besides, we are the widest. This is actually the benefit for all of the mobile operator in Indonesia, because now they are start to tap the opportunity outside Java Island. The GDP also now actually improving a lot outside Java. This is driven by the commodity, also with the oil and gas, and also coal. And another thing, most of the client of Mitratel is actually the top tier blue chip company such as Telkomsel, XL, Indosat, and Hutch, which is just merger last year or early this year. Okay. Our business is actually quite attractive business because we have a long-term contract, mainly 10 to 15 years. So within that period, the contract is not cancelable. So if we calculate all of the contract as of first quarter 2022, then we have about close to 35 trillion rupiah in terms of the contract itself. And we are one of the country that has most growth. For revenue, we have 21%, and the EBITDA growth is 29%. Okay? Being part of the Telkom group, because Mitratel just listed November last year, and Telkom as a part of the SOE remain on about 72%, and 28% is public, and also some SWF such as INA, Indonesia SWF, GIC from Singapore, ADIA from Middle East, and also Abu Dhabi Growth Fund. Okay. We, being part of the Telkom group, we also enjoy our synergy with the Telkom. For example, for the fiber optic, especially when we are trying to connect all of the tower into a fiber optic backbone connection. Okay, next slide. Okay, next. Okay. So at the current time, Indonesia, especially in the MNO, there's a consolidation from 5 operator now become 4 operator, but there's actually there's a chance that it can be only as 3 operator in the future. There's a possibility of that. For us, it's actually benefit because the new entity usually to become stronger. And not only stronger, they also become more aggressive in expanding, which is quite benefit because our tower is actually located quite spread it all over Indonesia. And Indonesia is also one of the countries that have one of the highest population or user per tower. So in here, Indonesia, every tower is actually cater about 2,700 people compared to our closest neighbor, Malaysia. So every tower only cater about 920 population. So there's actually a big opportunity, or there's still a big demand for the tower in Indonesia. And in terms of the coverage, if you see on the right side, Java is well covered, but then if you see other islands such as Sumatra and Kalimantan, still quite bright. It means that is still less coverage by the other tower, the other mobile operator such as Indosat and also XL. So there's actually a potential opportunity for us to actually be renting the space to that mobile operator. Okay, next slide. This is just to compare between Indonesia and other country, either it's US, Europe, or India and China. So if you see here in Indonesia, the return on investment per capita is actually still the highest. For one tenant, the return is 11%. Compared to US, it's around 5%, and Europe is about 7%. India only 1%, and China is only 4%. But if we have a second tenant, then the ROIC or the return on investment per capita improves significantly to 25%. Still a lot higher compared to other countries. Why this can happen in Indonesia? Because first, the lease rate is actually still quite high compared to other Asian countries. It is actually closer to the Europe. But then in terms of the capex to build the tower, we are actually comparable to other Asian countries, which is a lot cheaper compared to US and Europe. And in terms of the discount, there's no discount for the second tenant. So the rate for the first tenant, second and third tenant is actually the same. So if we have that's why if we have a second tenant, then the return will be quite significant. Okay, next slide. This is the management team of Mitratel. There are 5, and all of them has more than 20 years of experience. 4 of them have a long experience in the telco industry. Myself, I have more than 20 years experience in the capital market and also M&A. Okay, next slide. Okay, as I mentioned that our contract is basically 10 years, and that's why during the pandemic, we actually not impacted by the pandemic because the contract is still on. And the mobile operator is actually get the benefit of the pandemic because many people work from home using the Zoom or YouTube, etc. So that's actually make the communication become more important. So if we compile all of the revenue until 2000, as of first quarter 2022, then our revenue backlog is actually at close to 35 trillion rupiah. And 57 of it is actually come from Telkomsel, which is the largest MNO in Indonesia. Second from Indosat Ooredoo Hutch, which is just merged recently. Okay, next slide. Okay, this is the ecosystem. So in the past, Mitratel is only a tower operator. So we just manage the tower and we rent it to the mobile operator such as Telkomsel, XL, etc. Okay. But now we have we create our ecosystem because we would like to be the digital infrastructure company by 2023. In order for us to become a digital infrastructure company, this is the ecosystem that we create. So the first one is the tower itself. We're not only operating a macro tower, but at the current time, it's about 80% or majority of our tower is a macro, which is a tower that has more than 50 meters in terms of the height. And we also also offer a project solution. In this case, we offer a service to our customer to install the equipment, power to tower. We have about 1,200 towers that located off grid. From those towers, 615 we use solar panel as the source of energy. Okay, and in the future we are planning to improve it because the solar panel is more efficient compared to if we use a genset or diesel fuel. Managed service is also another portfolio that we are going to introduce, where we not only operating a passive equipment, but we also maintain and operate active equipment. Okay, and the other one, the number 5 is the edge computing. This is actually a data center, but located within the tower premise. This will create a faster response for the data, because from the mobile phone, it will directly connect to the tower, and it will directly connect to the data, to hardware within the premise. And this can result in very low latency, which is going to be very useful for virtual reality, metaverse, autonomous vehicle. That's actually the main user of this edge computing. And the last thing is also the most important part is a fiber optic. So we just start our business in 2022 for fiber optic. We understand that 5G will not work properly without fiber optic. That's why we try to have our own fiber optic. And as of now, as of first quarter, we already have a mandate of more than 2,000 kilometers of fiber optic in Indonesia. Next slide. Okay, next. Okay, this is our performance as of first quarter. In terms of the revenue, we actually improved close to 22%. EBITDA improved close to 29%, and our net income is improved close to 34%. This is actually driven by the acquisition that we did in 2021, and also that we did in 2021. And for the tower, we actually built in the first quarter, in the first 3 months of 2022, we already built 371. We add another 507 new tenant, and then we already have a mandate of fiber optic for 2,117. For the EBITDA margin in first quarter 2022 also improved to 77%, and net interest margin also has been improved to close to 25%. Next slide. Okay. For our business, we actually divided into 3. The tower leasing model, where basically we rented the space in the tower to this mobile operator. That for this business, the margin is actually about 85 to 86%. So this is the highest margin, and it's actually comparable with the other tower operator, a big tower operator in Indonesia. Reseller business is basically we operate and we marketing a tower belong to the third party. This also, the margin is also quite attractive. It's about 84%. But we are planning to phase out this business by acquiring those towers. Since we already know and we already operating that tower, we would like to acquire it by approaching the owner. And the last thing is actually tower-related business, which is basically other service that we offer to our customer. In the past, we offer a simple service such as renewing license, fixing the wire or fiber optic. But in the future, we try to have a business that has a better EBITDA margin. In the past, this tower-related business EBITDA margin only about 11 to 13%. But in the future, by adding a fiber optic, power to tower, edge computing, hopefully this tower-related business margin will improve at least to 50%. Okay, next slide. Okay, this is the tower that we own located all over Indonesia. If you see in the Java area where the cover is already well, the tenancy ratio is at 1.65. But for the other island in Indonesia, the tenancy is still low because majority of the tower of the mobile operators still focus in the big city area. As of now, they are planning to expand to all to the not only the big city but also to the remote area. So we're expecting the tenancy ratio, especially in the outside Java, will improve. Okay, next slide. Okay, this is our last slide. This is about our ESG. We basically comply with all of the ESG. First one, from the environmental point of view, we, as I mentioned, we do have the solar panel. We also use our tower for IoT. For example, in Sumatra and Kalimantan, we put a smoke detector to identify if there's a potential forest fire. We also use the tower for the relay for the tsunami signal in the Java area and also in Sumatra. And also we're replacing the old battery with the lithium battery because the lithium has a longer lifespan and also recyclable. Okay. For the social aspect, we have the equal balance between men and women within our company. We have the equal opportunity for everyone to have a good career path. And also we have a strong CSR program. As I mentioned that we spread all over Indonesia. So any incident or any disaster in Indonesia, we are one of the company that know about that incident. So our situation room will monitor our operation and asset in that location. At the same time, our CSR team will communicate with the local government to assist and help them with any necessary that they need. In terms of the governance, since we have 4 SWF as our anchor investor, we basically comply with the good corporate governance and also the whistleblower SOP. I think that's our last slide.